And we are live. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Sonia, the Mindset Medium. I'm a success mindset coach for women who have a deep passion and want to be emotionally fit and mentally strong to create the life, career, and business they love. I've been doing this for 10 years and I love it. I love it, I love it, love it. The reason for me coming on within the framework of the Mindset Reset Time snapshot sessions is because we had a group workshop earlier today. They're taking place every Tuesday and every Friday, where we get together and discuss all things that are important to you. People are hopping in and dropping off and ask questions as they find it to be of relevance to them. So I'm inviting you to join. In case you haven't joined one of these Mindset Reset Time workshops, feel free to join. Taking place every Tuesday and Friday. You can get yourself a free day pass under the mindsetmedium.com, link to which you also find in the description. So the reason why I'm coming on here again, as I always do, most of the times I jump on just to briefly recap and make this information also available to you, because I really believe that what we are discussing within the framework of these sessions can serve anybody. So I really want to make it also available for those of you who are not aware of the Mindset Reset Time group coaching workshops or who haven't made it. So somebody asked the question, Sonia, how do I change behavior which I recognize is not serving me? This particular person has been struggling with, spending too much time on social media, and how they recognize it to be of detriment to them, spending far too much time. But it's a great question because it applies to any kind of behavior which is not serving us, whether it's from eating too much or eating too much of the wrong things, drinking too much, not doing the things that we know would make a difference to our lives, not sending that email, not asking for the sale, not stepping up in a relationship and ask the right question or address the topic which has been clearly weighing everybody down. So whatever the behavior is, why do I keep doing the things which I know are not good for me? That was the question. So I really wanted to address this for a few minutes here and hope that you take something valuable away as well. So you see, what you need to understand is that everything we do in life is governed by two forces. And those two forces are our need to avoid pain and our desire to gain pleasure. So they're the two twin forces, our need to avoid pain and our desire to gain pleasure. They're the twin forces that govern everything that we do in life. So every time we're about to do something, our brain is essentially, in a nutshell, weighing up, me taking this action, what is it going to mean? Is it going to mean more pain and less pleasure? Or is it going to mean more pleasure and less pain? You see, we do much more in the moment to avoid pain than we ever would to gain pleasure. Let me give you an example. If I were to ask you, would you do more for preventing somebody stealing from you a large amount of money? Let's put a price tag on it. Let's say £100,000. Would you do more from preventing somebody stealing £100,000 from you? Or would you do more from going and earn an additional £100,000 for yourself? You know that the question is that you would do more to avoid that pain of having somebody stealing what you earned for yourself, right? So we do more to avoid pain than we do to gain pleasure. So to speak, the pain is the greater motivator here. So to change any kind of behavior, really any kind of behavior which we recognize is not serving you or which is holding us back, there is a pattern we can apply to change it. It's essentially using the carrot and the stick approach, the pain and pleasure approach, right? So essentially linking tremendous amounts of pain. I don't mean this in self-punishing terms, but the way we leverage on pain and pleasure, on the principle of pain and pleasure, on the driving forces of pain and pleasure, is that we connect tremendous amounts of pain to the behavior we don't want to, because we recognize it's not serving us, to a high degree of intensity, and connect tremendous amounts of pleasure to those things, to the behaviors that we recognize would be good for us, right? So let's take an example of somebody being on diet or wanting to lose weight, but has always struggled with giving up foods which they recognize it's not good for them, like eating too much chocolate, eating too much cake, too many sweets, right? So the way to do this, to permanently free yourself from the addiction of sugar, or from the addiction of the feeling eating sugar would give you, is by linking tremendous amounts of pain to the action of you consuming these things. So how do you do that? So think about, if this is you, think about it, how you eating cake, chocolate, sugar in excessive amounts has an impact on how you look, how you feel, how it makes you feel, and apply that pain, which you know is there, because otherwise you wouldn't be even thinking about losing weight, or you wouldn't have gone through the effort to try so many different diets. So think about the pain your action is causing you. Think about it. You letting yourself down by eating sugar, chocolate. How much pain are you creating? What are you giving up longer term? What is it going to cost you? How are you going to suffer longer term? And connect a lot of intensity to that pain. So if you had people commenting on your weight, or people commenting about not being able to follow through on a diet, how does it make you feel? How is it not in line with who you truly want to be? How does it make you feel to have let yourself down so many ways in the past? And once you have established that for you, once you have attached that number, that level of intensity to that pain, that it's really, you can really feel it in your body, just park it to the side for a second and think of the pleasure you would gain if you chose to cut down on those things or eliminate these things from your diet, on the pleasure you would gain if you, instead of eating sugary things in mass quantities, you cut down or replace them with something else. The pleasure you would gain from switching to a healthier option, healthier alternative. The pleasure you would gain from knowing that you can trust yourself, knowing that you are showing dedication to achieving the goals that you want, knowing how you will feel when other people notice you starting to lose weight, knowing that you are not letting yourself down this time, knowing how it's going to have an impact on everything, every other area of your life, if you are able to follow through on this, knowing how it will feel when you stand on the scales and see the pounds dropping off, knowing how it will feel when you are able to go back to the size of jeans you want to be, knowing how it will feel. So all this pleasure. So that's how we change behaviors, right? Attach pain, tremendous amounts of pain with high intensity, without, meaning it in horrible ways. This is not about self-punishment, but that's how the brain works. It's about leveraging on the knowledge. So change your behavior. To change your behavior, if you recognize it's not serving you and it's been weighing you down, holding you back, attach tremendous amounts of pain with high intensity to you keep doing what you've been doing. And on the flip side, attach tremendous amounts of pleasure to the new behavior you recognize would mean a complete change for you, will give you the result that you are after, will give you everything that you want, will give you the result of you becoming who you want to become. So pain and pleasure, the principle of pain and pleasure. You see, in any moment, whatever we give our attention to, whatever we give our focus to, is most real, right? In any moment. So when it comes to also changing behaviors, like we've just spoken about, we need to focus on two questions. How will not changing my behavior be more painful than changing it? And how will changing my behavior give me measurable, immediate pleasure? Okay, so the questions we need to focus on when we are talking about changing behaviors is, how will not changing my behavior be more painful than changing it? And how will changing my behavior give me measurable and immediate pleasure? So it's about utilizing, again, with anything within this Mindset Reset Time Snapshot sessions, it's about utilizing our mindset in the right way. Most people are not asking themselves these kind of questions, right? When it comes to changing behavior. How will not changing my behavior essentially cause me more pain? And how will changing my behavior give me pleasure? They are the two things we need to focus on when it comes to changing behaviors. You see, we can attach to anything, to pain and pleasure can be attached to anything, can be attached to any kind of approaches in our life. And we can condition our minds, our bodies, and our emotions to associate pain and pleasure with anything. But the key here is to use pain and pleasure rather than allow pain and pleasure use us. Use pain and pleasure rather than allow pain and pleasure to use us. So the principles of pain and pleasure, obviously, they play a huge part in our lives, in our personal lives, in our professional lives, in business, in our careers. So it can be applied in other areas of our lives as well. Not only in changing behaviors, although it all comes down to changing behaviors, right? But if you reframe it in the context of, think about things, the things you recognize you should have been doing or you should do. So the actions you recognize you should be taking, but for some reason, without going into too much detail here for some reason you've been putting them off, right? Because on an unconscious level, you are connecting more pain to taking these actions than pleasure. So let's use this example of pain and pleasure for this example as well. If you have actions which you have been consistently putting off, don't we all have these actions? Of course we do. I mean, this is where also last week we spoke about procrastination, right? That's also the basis of procrastination. We link more pain to doing something than we link pleasure to doing it. But if we start thinking and digging deep and associate the pain and the pleasure to the right things, we can turn things around. So to take control of our life, you must take control of the force of decision. Because the power to change anything in our life is through taking a decision, which by definition means that you can do something immediately to change your situation. So what are the 4 actions? Let's start with 4. What are the 4 actions you've been consistently putting off? What are the 4 actions you've been consistently putting off? And I want you to think about this. But rather than giving you time here, considering it's a live stream, I want you to play back and stop when you're watching this on a replay. But what are the 4 actions you've been consistently putting off? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And what is the pain you have been associating with taking these actions? What is the pain that has been holding you back from following through? Think about it for a moment. What is the pain that has been holding you from following through? So it may mean that you've been putting off making the call. That call where you ask somebody whether they want to buy after an initial meeting or set of meetings. But what is the pain you have been avoiding if you are putting off taking that action? Is it the pain of rejection? Is it the pain of a no? What is the pain, whatever it is? What is the pain you have been avoiding? Or in the example of the diet, what is the pain you've been avoiding? Probably you were focusing on how you will lose out on the feeling that that chocolate will give you, or the cake will give you, or the sugar hit will give you, right? So what is the pain? And question number 3, what are the pleasures or payoffs you got from not following through on your actions? What are the pleasures or payoffs you got from not following through on your actions? In the example of the call, the pleasure or payoff may be that you don't get an immediate rejection, a no, that you can stay, although in a pretend false sense of security and uncertainty. They didn't give you a no, so it's not quite a no, so there is still some hope for a yes, right? And in the case of dieting, the pleasure you were gaining is this feeling of, feeling the sugar rush, feeling of, relaxing, feeling comfort. That's comfort eating is all about, right? So question number 3 again, what are the pleasures or payoffs you got from not following through on the actions? And for each of those 4 actions, I want you to think about them and write a paragraph or at least a couple of sentences about what it will cost you if you don't follow through on them. How will it affect your confidence? How will it affect the way you trust in yourself? How will it affect your self-esteem? What is it going to have an impact on if you don't follow through on those actions? So what are the consequences essentially going to be if you don't follow through? Think about it. You may lose something. You may disappoint somebody. Of course, first of all, will you disappoint yourself if you don't follow through? And how will that impact your confidence, your trust in yourself? And now you have identified the pain, it's time to start associating pleasure to the new behavior, right? So what are the payoffs? What are the benefits you will gain by taking the action? What are the benefits you will gain by stop procrastinating on making the call? What are the benefits you will gain from committing yourself to eliminating sugar out of your diet? What are the benefits you will gain from having that frank conversation, from stepping up and facing a challenge right on? What are the benefits for you? Focusing your mind on the benefits. And when you write them down, I want you to associate as much pleasure to them as you possibly can. So there were the 5 questions. Just to recap them once again. The things you have been putting off for a while now, those actions, and you know what they are, which would be good for you, which would mean progress for you, your career, your business, whatever they are. What are 4 of those actions you've been putting off? And question number 2, what is the pain you have linked to taking these actions? What is the pain you have linked to making these actions happen? What is the pain it would mean for you taking these actions? And step number 3, question number 3, what are the pleasures you are gaining from not following through on those 4 actions? What are the pleasures you are gaining from not following through on those 4 actions? And then as question number 4, to write a paragraph, what it will cost you if you don't follow through. What are you going to lose out on? How is it going to make you feel? How is it going to have an impact on your confidence? How is it going to have an impact, you not taking action on the bigger picture of everything that is going on around you? How will it have an impact on your decision-making abilities? What will you lose out on? And then finally, step number 5, if you were to take these actions, what pleasures, what benefits, what good things would come out of them? How will they make you feel? Who would you become? Who would you inspire by you doing them knowingly or unknowingly? What would be the good things happening for you? Would you feel a sense of relief that you have finally done it? Would you feel a sense of pride in yourself? Would you grow emotionally and spiritually? Would you inspire other people around you who look up to you? So I encourage you to think about these questions and to write them down, and to start the progress and the process of leveraging the twin forces, the forces of pain and the forces of pleasure, to your advantage. This is all about rewiring your programming of associations. What do you associate pain to? What do you associate pleasure to? Use the carrot and the stick, the carrot being the pleasure and the stick being the pain, to your advantage. Because let's face it, advertisers do it all day, every day, right? They present to us a scenario which we associate to, which causes us tremendous amounts of pain. And the moment the pain is high, they bring the solution, they introduce the solution, which immediately offers relief, pleasure, right? This is how advertisers who are making loads of money are leveraging the principles of pain and pleasure. So it's time to take the power of pain and pleasure, the principle of pain and pleasure, into our own hands. So I hope you have found this useful. As I said, this question was asked within the Mindset Reset Time group coaching workshops, and I wanted to share it also with you. Please do share it with your wider network. You never know who is looking for this info right now, and I'm sure that many people don't know about the principle of pain and pleasure and how to reprogram the behavioral approaches, how to reprogram the mind to start taking action in a way which is empowering rather than disempowering them, and how to, get rid of the behavior which is no longer serving them and embrace and quite literally program behavior, which means progress, which means growth, which means learning, contribution, all the good stuff. So thank you for sharing, and I'm inviting you to join one of the upcoming group coaching workshops, Mindset Reset Time, taking place every Tuesday and Friday. So you're welcome to join. The link to which you find in the description, themindsetmedium.com. You can get yourself a free day pass at the link. Thanks for joining in. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I hope you found this useful. Use the principles of pain and pleasure to your advantage. It's time to change things and to turn things around. It's time to start utilizing the power of our mindset in our favor. Thanks, everybody. You take care. Great weekend.